Good day everyone. For today, let's move on to the abnormal curves or the vertebral column. Spine or backbone is made up of small bones or vertebrae stacked along with this, one on top of another. A healthy spine when viewed from the side has gentle curves to it. The curves help the spine absorb stress from body movement and gravity. When viewed from the back, the spine should run straight down the middle of the back. When abnormalities of the spine occur, the natural curvatures of the spine are misaligned or exaggerated in certain areas, as occurs with lordosis, kyphosis, and scoliosis. These three refers to the abnormal curves or the vertebral column. Now, the bony spine is made up of vertebral bones, and there are intervertebral discs that sit between adjacent vertebrae. The spine is made up of 33 vertebrae which can be divided into 5 regions. The cervical region has 7 vertebrae, the thoracic region has 12, the lumbar region has 5, the sacral region has 5 as well, and the small tailite coccygeal region is made up of 4 fused vertebrae. Normally, the cervical and the lumbar spines slightly curve inward. This results from the fact that the intervertebral discs in these regions are thicker anteriorly than posteriorly, which causes this part of the spine to lean forward. On the other hand, the thoracic and the sacral spines are normally curved backward, which is normal kyphosis. Lordosis refers to the normal inward curvatures of the spine at the cervical and lumbar regions, and is most commonly associated with obesity or late pregnancy. The accumulation of body weight in the abdominal region results in anterior shifts in the line of gravity that carries the weight of the body. This causes in an anterior tilt of the pelvis and an pronounced enhancement of the lumbar curve. Typically affects the lumbar region and can specifically result from the trunk flexors and the hip extensors becoming too weak to balance action of trunk extensors and hip flexors. When that happens, the lumbar spine gets overextended, causing it to progressively curve inwards, causing lumbar lordosis. Lordosis results in an incurved back in the cervical or lumbar spine. Kyphosis refers to the normal outward curvature of the spine, specifically at the thoracic region. Also referred to as humpback or hunchback, is an excessive posterior curvature of the thoracic region. This can develop when osteoporosis causes weakening and erosion of the anterior portions of the upper thoracic vertebrae, resulting in their gradual collapse. Kyphosis mainly affects the thoracic spine. It usually occurs when the front of the thoracic vertebrae gets deformed or crushed, causing this part of the spine to excessively bend forward. Kyphosis typically results in a rounded back in the thoracic spine, which look like a hump in the upper back. There are 3 types of kyphosis. First is the postural kyphosis, which arises from repeated poor posture like slouching for a long time. Postural kyphosis is most common in young females. The second type of kyphosis is the Scheuermann kyphosis, which is when the vertebrae gets structurally deformed and became wedge-shaped for an unclear reason. This is often associated with scoliosis, and it's referred to as kyphoscoliosis, a condition of hyperkyphosis that involves the vertebral bodies and discs of the spine identified by anterior wedging of greater than or equal to 5 degrees in 3 or more adjacent vertebral bodies. And last type of kyphosis is the congenital kyphosis, which develops when the vertebrae get deformed during fetal development, resulting in a baby that's born with kyphosis. In general, if the condition is severe, it can reduce the space in the thoracic cavity, which can compress the heart and prevent the lungs from fully expanding. It is a genetic mistake occurs that results in the failure of formation of failure of segmentation on the front part of one or more vertebral bodies and discs. Lordosis and kyphosis are typically associated with underlying conditions. The example of this is the osteoporosis. The bones become porous and weak and can develop compression fractures, causing the bones to collapse a little bit. This can cause a spinal deformity and can also impinge on nearby nerves, misalign vertebrae. They can also exert too much pressure on the intervertebral discs, causing them to degenerate. Other conditions like spondylolisthesis, in which a vertebrae slips out of its normal position, or conditions like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and Marfan syndrome, where bones and connective tissues overgrow, causing spinal instability. Obesity can also put excess unbalanced weight on the spine and causing it to deform. Other causes include inflammation of the intervertebral disc, which can happen from overuse due to a sports injury or lifting weights in an appropriate way. Scoliosis is when the spine becomes twisted or develops a sideways curve resembling an S or a C shape, often resulting in uneven shoulders and hips. The majority of the time, the underlying cause is unclear, and it's thought that it may be due to a defect in a composition of the intervertebral disc. These discs have a reduced amount of glycosaminoglycans, which changes their ability to act as shock absorbers and causes the spine to become misshapen. Scoliosis is often seen in individuals with neuromuscular disorders that cause progressive muscle weakness like cerebral palsy or muscular dystrophy. In severe scoliosis, there can be a deformity in the chest cavity compressing the heart on the lungs, similar to what's seen in severe kyphosis. Thank you for listening, and God bless everyone.